Thank you very much. I don't want this to be another Executive Council meeting, so I'll be very informal and very fast. We have a maximum of 45 minutes. But first of all, welcome to Kigali. For those who don't live here, we Rwanda, are honored by the presence of our brothers and sisters from the continent for this very, very important summit, very timely summit in many ways. We will be, particularly on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, discussing matters of great importance to the continent. We have elections for the Commission of the African Union. We will be discussing Africa financing its programs. We will be talking about trade, and especially we will be celebrating the collective move by a number of countries, a majority of countries in Africa, to start easing the movement of Africans across the continent. We will be delivering the Pan-African passport to some dignitaries here in Kigali to start popularizing this passport that eventually any African will be able to travel with, and many more subjects of interest. So I'm here to take your questions this morning.
Thank you, Madam Minister. We'll start with Eugene. The gentleman there has a microphone. If you can pass the microphone to Eugene. So introduce yourself, the Media House you work for, and one question, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. My name is Eugene Kwiwuka. I write for the New Times. We understand that the Sudanese President Bashir is coming to town for the meeting. And we understand Rwanda is not ready to arrest him. I was wondering if Rwanda is not afraid of the consequences for that, because the ICC is already complaining about him moving around freely. And I also wondered if this meeting, the African Union Summit, is going to discuss the issue of African countries signing out of the ICC convention. Thank you very much.
This is a very simple question. Rwanda is the host of African leaders invited by the African Union, and unequivocally, anybody who's invited by the African Union will be here in Kigali and will be very welcome, will be under the protection of this country as should be customary. President Bashir is the leader of an African country, duly invited and should be part of this meeting. That's one. So as host, we will host anybody that's been invited by the African Union for this very important summit. Secondly, Rwanda has not adhered or subscribed to the Rome Statute. So we have no obligation, we have no right to arrest anybody. But the request from the ICC to the government of Rwanda 2 days ago, we view it as a distraction, and we're too busy to pay attention to that kind of thing.
Next question.
Second part of the question, I think, was the discussion during this summit of potential withdrawal of countries from the Rome Statute. That is for the 34 countries that are members. 20 countries are not, including mine. Withdrawal is a sovereign right. Countries have subscribed voluntarily, and I suppose they can pull out whenever they decide to do so, going through whatever legal procedures are provided for under the Rome Statute.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Jane. I'm from CCTV Africa in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm just wondering if the Commission has received, or you've received, we understand that ECOWAS has requested the postponement of the elections for the AU chair. We understand, can you confirm if this is true and whether these elections will actually go on?
Let me begin with the second question. Yes, absolutely, elections will go on. ECOWAS indeed did send to the African Union chairperson and commission a request for postponement that will have to be discussed by heads of state, but I'm not sure whether the entire bloc of ECOWAS is actually going to be asking for postponement. But the Commission of the African Union has 6 out of 8 commissioners ending their term now, and the view of my country and quite a few others is that we need leadership for the Commission without delay. So indeed, there is no rule that at this point, just a few days before the summit, would stop elections. But again, heads of state in the assembly are sovereign, and you know, who knows? But my belief is that elections will go on. And we're ready for them.
Thank you. Next question, we'll take the gentleman over there.
Merci. Mon nom c'est André Gakwaya, from Rwanda News Agency. Madame la ministre, après le jugement, le procès d'Hissène Habré par les chambres africaines extraordinaires, certains Africains commencent à penser que ces chambres peuvent s'étendre pour continuer à faire un tel travail contre des leaders africains qui violent sérieusement les droits des peuples. Et surtout que la CPI, dans ce cas, surtout que la CPI est très contestée par la majorité des pays africains. Merci.
Écoutez, je pense avec le procès de l'ancien président Hissène Habré, il est clair, pour ceux qui n'étaient pas convaincus, nous on était toujours convaincus, nous le Rwanda, que l'Afrique est capable de juger les Africains. Je voudrais juste rappeler qu'il n'y a pas de tribunal ou de cour réservé aux chefs d'État. La justice s'applique à tout le monde, mais pour le genre de crimes de violation tels que ceux qui pesaient contre l'ancien président Hissène Habré, c'est sûr que l'Afrique est capable de rendre justice, et nous sommes convaincus. D'ailleurs, parmi les sujets discutés hier au sein du Conseil exécutif, on a évoqué ce sujet, et évidemment, il faudrait que tous les pays membres, nous tous, nous puissions contribuer à ce que l'Afrique puisse juger les Africains quand il est nécessaire, et il n'y a aucune raison que l'Afrique ne puisse pas, avec toutes les ressources, toutes les qualités qu'on a pu voir à travers plusieurs pays dans le domaine du droit international, qu'on ne puisse pas donc faire fonctionner une cour africaine. Et ce qui est sûr, c'est que à l'issue de ce sommet, on aura discuté un peu plus de cette cour africaine qui est en fait désirée par plusieurs pays, y compris le mien.
Merci. Nous allons prendre une question là derrière, la madame là derrière.
Bonjour madame, bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Kadiatou Tierno Diallo de la Guinée-Conakry. Je voudrais avoir une idée sur le passeport que vous allez lancer ici à Kigali. Bien que ce n'est pas permis pour la population lambda, mais est-ce qu'avec le lancement de ce passeport, de ce document, le problème de visa va être réglé entre nous, les pays? Est-ce que la population, en dehors des chefs d'État, parce que pour le moment, c'est les chefs d'État, selon l'information que j'ai reçue, à quand, pour nous, les autres qui ne sont pas chefs d'État ou diplomates, et le problème de visa, est-ce que ça va vraiment ça va anéantir, ça va enlever les visas entre les pays?
Alors, le passeport panafricain qui va être lancé au cours de ce sommet fait partie d'un processus. Donc, nous sommes au début d'un processus d'intégration continentale. C'est pour cela que les quelques passeports qui seront délivrés ici à Kigali sont plus ou moins symboliques. Nous voulons signaler le début d'une ère de libre circulation, d'une certaine identité, d'une appartenance par rapport à ce passeport africain. Donc, tout d'abord, il n'y aura pas de passeport africain que pour les chefs d'État, que pour les diplomates. Mais comme c'est un sommet de chefs d'État, de diplomates, on a voulu lancer ce processus d'une manière symbolique. Et puis, la deuxième étape sera à chaque pays, en collaboration avec l'Union africaine, d'imprimer ses propres passeports et de pouvoir les distribuer selon la législation nationale. Donc, nous espérons que ce processus va aller très vite. Le Rwanda se réjouit beaucoup du début de distribution de ces passeports africains. Il y a aussi, je dois signaler, un processus au niveau international pour que ce passeport puisse être reconnu et accepté par différents pays. Donc, soyez un peu patients. Tous ceux qui ont droit à ce passeport, c'est-à-dire tous les Africains, avec le temps, pourront avoir accès à ce passeport. Quant aux difficultés de visa qui existent encore ici et là sur le continent, c'est sûr qu'avec un passeport africain, chaque Africain peut circuler sur le continent sans être embêté.
Merci. Sylvanus.
Murakoze nyakubahwa minisita, nitwa Sylvanus nkora televiziyo Rwanda. Ikibazo cyanjye kirarenda gusa nk'icya mugenzi wanjye nubwo kintanze mu gifaransa ariko ndongera nsa nk'ugisubiraho gatoya. Iyi pasiporo nyafurika igiye gushyirwa ahagaragara, abantu baribaza bati se ahari yenda ntabwo ibihugu byaba byihuse cyane, kubera ko uyu munsi turabona ko uhahirana hagati y'ibihugu bya Afurika ndetse n'ubucuruzi bikiri ku rwego rwo hasi ugereranyije n'indi migabane. Abantu bakibaza bati abanyafurika ntabwo bajya mu bihugu byabo bisanzuye. Ikibazo cya viza nk'uko yari hasabaye nk'ubigarukaho nacyo kirasa nkaho kikiri ingume, ni ibihugu mbarwa bimaze kugikuraho cyangwa se koroza viza. Ese mu magambo avunaguye mwayidusobanurira mutiza korite, abantu bayitezeho iki? Ese ni gute izagenda ishyirwa mu bikorwa kugira ngo ugiye uri umunyafurika ku rwego rwo hasi nawe yumviye ko ashobora kwisanzura ku mugabane we? Murakoze.
Murakoze. Icya mbere nifuza gusobanura ni uko iyi pasiporo nyafurika izatangirwa hano i Kigali muri iyi nama y'abakuru b'ibihugu b'umuryango wunze ubumwe wa Afurika. Ntabwo ari pasiporo yagenewe abaperezida n'abaminisitiri b'ububanyi n'amahanga n'abadiplomate gusa. Ni pasiporo izageraho ikagera ku bantu bose. Icyo nasobanura ni uko muri iyi nama y'abakuru b'ibihugu hano i Kigali turatangira gutanga iyo pasiporo, kubigaragaza, kubiha agaciro. Ni umuhango wo kugira ngo abantu bamenye neza yuko tugeze kuri urwo rwego, ariko n'inzira, hari inzira bifata, duhereye nuko iyi pasiporo igomba kumenyekanishwa biciye mu nzira zisanzwe mpuzamahanga z'amategeko n'ibigenga abinjira n'abasohoka mu bihugu byinshi. Navuga rero yuko ntabwo twihuse, ahubwo twaratinze kuko icyifuzo cy'Afrika, cy'abayobozi ba Afurika, cyatwe twese abaturage ba Afurika, nuko cyane cyane ari nayo ntego y'uyu muryango wacu w'ubumwe bwa Afurika, nuko ubumwe bwa Afurika n'ubundi bivuga ko twunze ubumwe turi hamwe, ni ukuvuga ko nta munyafurika ukwiye guhezwa mu gihugu icyo ari cyo cyose cya Afurika. Iyi pasiporo rero izatangirwa hano muri iyi nama, akaba ari uburyo bwo kugaragaza inzira turimo, inzira dutangiye, ariko tukaba tunifuza kubyihutisha kuko ibijyanye no guhuza ibihugu na integration y'ibihugu bya Afurika, mu by'ukuri twebwe tubona byaratinze kuko dukeneye kubana, dukeneye kumenyana, dukeneye guhahirana, dukeneye ko abanyafurika bisanga mu bihugu bya Afurika ibyo ari byo byose. Navuga rero yuko ahubwo abaturage ba Afurika bakwiye gusaba abayobozi yuko iyi nzira dutangiye y'ipasiporo nyafurika yakwihutishwa.
Murakoze. Turafata ikibazo kuri uru ruhande.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Minisitiri, nitwa Jean Dodier Karinijabo, nkorera TV1 na Radio 1. Perezida wa Sudan Omar el-Bashir ni umuyobozi w'igihugu ariko ushinjwa ibyaha bya jenoside. U Rwanda nk'igihugu cyanyuze mu mateka ya jenoside yakorewe abatutsi, ntekereza ko rutakishimira kubona igihugu icyo ari cyo cyose kuri uyu mugabane gicumbikiye uwagize uruhare muri iyo jenoside. None nk'u Rwanda kuba rugiye kwakira umuperezida nk'uwo nguwo ukurikiranyweho ibyaha bya jenoside, ni ukwirengagiza ko ari urukiko mpuzamahanga mpanabyaha rumushakisha, cyangwa ni ukwirengagiza ko ari umushyitsi wa Afurika yunze ubumwe gusa rukamwakira rutitaye kuri ibyo byaha akurikiranyweho? Murakoze.
Nagira ngo dutandukanye ibintu bibiri kuri iki kibazo cy'umukuru w'igihugu cya Sudani. Twe kubivanga kuko ntabwo turi bubyumve neza. Icya mbere, hari ubucamanza mpuzamahanga, icya kabiri hari politiki. Icyo navuga ni uko ubucamanza mpuzamahanga burimo politiki nyinshi, ibyo byo ntawe ubishidikanyaho. U Rwanda rero twebwe nk'igihugu cya Afurika yunze ubumwe turubahiriza mu buryo bukomeye ibyemezo byose bifatwa n'uyu muryango wacu wa Afurika yunze ubumwe. Uyu muryango rero ukaba warasabye akanama gashinzwe umutekano k'umuryango w'abibumbye yuko abakuru b'ibihugu igihe bari mu kazi batorewe n'abaturage babo bafite ibyaha baregwa, bagomba guhabwa ubudahangarwa kugeza igihe baviriye mu mirimo. Icyo turacyubahiriza cyane. Twebwe nk'u Rwanda rero, mbere yo kubahiriza urukiko tudafite aho duhuriye, kuko twebwe ntabwo urwo rukiko twigeze turwemera, ntabwo turi abanyamuryango barwo, turubahiriza cyane amabwiriza y'abakuru b'ibihugu ba Afurika. Kuvuga ko Perezida Bashir w'igihugu cya Sudan aregwa jenoside, akaba aje mu gihugu cyabayemo jenoside, ibyo biburanirirwa mu nkiko. Ibyo ntago biburanirwa muri izi nama z'uyu muryango wacu wa Afurika yunze ubumwe. Ikindi gikomeye cyane abantu bagomba gusobanukirwa nuko ntabwo Afurika n'umunsi n'umwe, izi nama zimazemo imyaka 7 nzijyamo, nta na rimwe hari umuyobozi wa Afurika wigeze avuga yuko twifuza yuko abayobozi badahanwa. Ntabwo Afurika ishyigikiye abanyabyaha bikomeye nk'ibyo ngibyo. Twebwe nk'u Rwanda ntidushobora gushyigikira ibintu nk'ibyo, ariko iyo ubucamanza butangiye kuvangamo politike nyinshi, bidusaba guhagarara tukabitandukanya. Politiki ikajya aha, ubucamanza bukajya aha. Ibyaha rero byose abakuru b'ibihugu baba baregwa ndetse n'abandi banyafurika bigomba kunyura mu nzira y'inkiko, ntago bigomba kunyura mu nzira za politike. Ndibaza ko kuva igihe umukuru w'igihugu cya Sudan aregwa ibi byaha hashize imyaka myinshi cyane, hagiye hazamo amacenga menshi ya politike, ariko abifuza kumufata sinzi yuko babuze amikoro cyangwa se babuze uburyo bwo kumufata. Ntabwo rero nibaza ko bategereje ko azi Kigali kugira ngo afatwe. Icyo nakwemeza nuko twebwe nk'u Rwanda ku buryo budasubirwaho Perezida Bashir ari umushyitsi wacu, ni umushyitsi wa Afurika yunze ubumwe. Twakiriye inama yatumiwemo n'umuryango wa Afurika wunze ubumwe. Sinshidikanya ko nta muntu ushobora kumufatira hano I Kigali.
Murakoze. We'll take the question from the gentleman here. Gentleman here.
Thank you. I'm Zhu Shaobing from Chinese media Xinhua News Agency. I have a question concerning South Sudan. We all know that the resurge of violence recently is exacerbating was already a very deplorable situation in the country. Hostilities are still there. Are there discussions of any extra interventions by the AU during the summit? And also, in the violence, peacekeepers, including 2 Chinese keepers, were killed, many got injured, and many countries currently still have peacekeeping mission there. And how do you comment on the killing of peacekeepers who are there to help? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me say that what is happening at this particular time in South Sudan is very sad for our continent. We haven't waited actually for the summit to start to discuss what should be done and what could be done by the continent and by the region, led by the efforts of IGAD to get South Sudan back on track. It's a complicated situation, as you know. Over the last 2 years, extreme efforts were deployed to try and get the political stalemate in South Sudan to end. Unfortunately, as you just said, the violence has flared up in quite a significant way. To be direct with your question about extra efforts in intervention, nothing is off the table. For the leaders that will be gathered here in Kigali to do everything possible, first, to make sure that the people of South Sudan have protection, and 2, to try and get the political process back on track. So whether it's intervention, military, political, you can be sure that this is one of the few very, very critical discussions that would take place here in Kigali. In fact, we're expecting the Secretary General of the United Nations in Kigali here tomorrow afternoon to meet with some leaders of the continent on this particular matter. China, like Rwanda, has peacekeepers in South Sudan. Our own troops have been under very extreme circumstances in the last few days. We've had Rwandan peacekeepers injured. But before we think of protection of peacekeepers, as Rwanda, we want to make sure that the civilian population of South Sudan gets the protection it needs. So we will be discussing also the matter of a mandate of UNMISS this particular time in South Sudan. So a very, very important topic on everybody's mind and agenda at this summit in Kigali.
Thank you. We'll take the question from the gentleman here.
Madam Foreign Minister, if you allow me, I have 2 questions.
One, for now.
Okay. And my question is, when it comes to the e-passport, Pan-Africa e-passport, and there are a lot of insecurity in some countries. So do you make sure that this Pan-African passport will not impose or will not cause any insecurity to some countries like Rwanda or the peaceful countries? Are you sure that this e-passport will not pose any insecurity?
That's a very, very important question. There is no compromising security, whether it's for the circulation of people or goods or services. Security is the #1 consideration when we talk about moving more easily across the continent. If I can share just for a very quick moment the experience of Rwanda, which decided a few years back that any holder of an African passport is welcome to Rwanda and can apply for visa on arrival. So we've gone through these discussions about security. And our strategic thinking is that the fear of insecurity should not stop Africans from moving freely from one country to another, but rather that we as countries on the national level, on the regional and eventually continental level must pick up our preparation in terms of security. I know that that is happening already. A number of countries, including in our own region of East Africa, have their security services, intelligence services all connected to make sure that we protect our region together. So security is a major concern, but it should not be an impediment to the movement of people and goods.
Thank you.
Murakoze Madame Ministre, nitwa Eric bagira ubusa kuri radio y'Ijwi ry'Amerika. Nshaka kumenya ibihugu bya Afrika byakunze kunenga ibyemezo bifatwa n'urukiko mpuzamahanga ICC. No kuvuga ngo kugeza ubu ngubu muri EU muri mu nama, nshaka kumenya aho muhagaze ubu muhagaze he kuri rwa rukiko mpuzamahanga mpanabyaha. Murakoze.
Urukiko mpuzamahanga mpanabyaha ni urukiko rwatangiye rushyigikiwe n'ibihugu byinshi cyane, ariko icyaje kugaragara nuko urwo rukiko rwagiye muri politiki kuruta umwanya rwashyize mu bijyanye n'ubutabera mpuzamahanga. Icyo nicyo kibazo gihari, kuko nta kuntu wasobanura ko kuva ruriya rukiko rwajyaho kuva mu mwaka wa 2002 imyaka igiye kuba hafi 15. Nukurikira neza abajyanywe muri urwo rukiko basabirwa gucirwa imanza, urasanga ari Abanyafrika. Urwo rukiko rero duhindura izina rwitwe urukiko mpuzamahanga mpanabyaha by'Abanyafrika cyangwa se rube mpuzamahanga. Twese imbere y'ubutabera twese tugomba kureshya, tugomba kungana. Ariko birumvikana kuko ibihugu bimwe na bimwe biyobora bifite umwanya munini muri politike z'isi, bifite uburyo bwinshi bikoresha kugira ngo bibashe kugera ku nyungu zabyo. Inyungu za Afrika rero ni ebyiri ku bijyanye n'uru rukiko. Icya mbere nuko tugomba kwamagana ibyaha bikomeye nk'ibyo ngibyo bihanirwa muri urwo rukiko. Ni ikintu gikomeye cyane, akaba ari nayo mpamvu mubona ko ibihugu bya Afrika bigenda bishyiraho ingufu nyinshi ku rukiko rwacu nyafrika. Tumaze kuvuga ko mu kibazo cyabajijwe mu kanya uko uwahoze ari perezida w'igihugu cya Chad Hissène Habré yaciriwe urubanza mu gihugu cya Senegal, rwaciwe n'Abanyafrika mu gihugu cya Afrika kandi rwagenze neza. Nta mpamvu rero ubucamanza mpuzamahanga bukwiye kuza hagati y'abayobozi ba Afrika cyane cyane, kuko biragaragara nk'uko nabivuze mu mateka y'uru rukiko, ugasanga politiki mpuzamahanga niyo yitwaza urwo rukiko. Ariko cyambere nuko ibyaha nk'ibyo bikomeye Afrika itabishyigikiye, abantu bagomba kubihanirwa, ariko bakabihanirwa mu buryo buciye mu mucyo. Ntabwo rero ibyo byigeze biranga ruriya rukiko. Akaba ariho nsubije ikibazo cyawe, niho ibihugu byinshi bya Afrika bihagaze. Tukaba tumaze igihe ndetse n'ejo hano muri iyi nama y'abaminisitiri b'ububanyi n'amahanga twagize ibiganiro byafashe amasaha menshi tuganira kuri uru rukiko, tunavuga yuko ibihugu bimwe bimwe byagiye bibigaragaza. Hari ibihugu 34 kuri 54 bya Afrika biri muri uru rukiko, ibindi 20 ntabwo turimo. N'u Rwanda natwe ntabwo ruriya rukiko ntabwo twigeze turwizera. Ibyo bihugu rero ubu hakaba hariho akanama k'abaminisitiri b'ububanyi n'amahanga biga kuri icyo kibazo cy'uko urwo rukiko rujya ku murongo ibihugu bya Afurika birimo bikabonamo ubutabera, ubucamanza, cyangwa se ibihugu bimwe bigatangira gusohoka muri urwo rukiko kandi ibihugu birahari.
Nyakubahwa Minisitiri, mutwemerere twafata ibibazo bitanu bya nyuma niba
ibibazo
bibiri bya nyuma. The gentleman there in the back in blue, then we'll take also one on that side.
Thank you. I just want a bit of clarification on...
Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Igunza from BBC Africa. I just want a clarification of the launch of the African passport on the practicalities from when the heads of state will receive the passport. And then would there be a discussion on signing up to some sort of protocol for the African countries to sign up to it? Because these conversations have been going on since the 80s and 90s, and there's some countries which have, for their own interests, resisted having much more open borders. And also, if you don't mind, just a reaction to the new government in the UK, and your counterpart will be Boris Johnson, who has made some really controversial comments in the past about the continent.
On the African passport, indeed, this has been talked about for a few decades now. But I think what pleases us is that the time has come now for this process to get started. And so what will happen here in Kigali is that symbolically, the first few passports will be delivered to some heads of state and foreign ministers and a few officials of the African Union. But that's just a first step, and from there, each country, each member state of the African Union will be working out practical modalities to start delivering those passports in each one of the countries. So practically what you would have after the symbolic moment in this summit in Kigali is that each country will enter into discussions with the African Union about printing their own national passports according to their own legislation. And so you will have African Union passport Rwanda, African Union passport Zimbabwe, African Union passport DRC, and so forth. And so from there, it will be picked up by each one of the countries. But, you know, better late than never. Excuse me? How soon on starting, but completing will depend on each of the countries and how they are prepared to deliver this highly sophisticated passport with chips and all kinds of good electronic stuff. But Rwanda is prepared. Rwanda is already printing similar passports. And so we will be picking it up from here during this summit and start distribution process, printing and distribution process for different categories of passports, diplomatic, official, and ordinary passports. So how soon will really depend on each country and how they are prepared to distribute widely.
Murakoze Minister.
There was a second question on what we think of the new government in the United Kingdom. And let me just say that governments and cabinets and leadership of countries are very, very sovereign matters. Rwanda is prepared to work with anybody that the United Kingdom has put in place. We embrace anybody, particularly in the area of foreign affairs, because we have to work together. And so we have no reason to be worried about anything happening in the United Kingdom. We've had a very, very good relationship with the United Kingdom. Every now and then, small matters, as it happens with any country. But yes, we're happy to work with the new government. It's not our decision, and we have no reason to not like or to dislike anybody that is in the new government of the United Kingdom, including, as you said, my new counterpart, who are ready to work with whomever is in place.
Ikibazo cya nyuma turafata uriya mugabo hariya.
Murakoze, nitwa Veniste Kamanzi nandikiye Umuseke. Ikibazo cyanjye nanjye kirarebana na Sudani y'Epfo. Sudani y'Epfo ubu ngubu iri mu muryango wa Afurika y'Iburasirazuba, kandi umuryango wa Afurika y'Iburasirazuba ufite intervention brigade. Nkibaza nti se iriya intervention brigade ntihaba hageze ko yinjira mu bibazo nk'ibi ngibi biri muri South Sudan, cyane ko ari byo bikunze kugaragara muri Afurika, aho abaturage hagati yo bo mu gihugu barwana hagati yabo, cyangwa se yatangira kujya mu gukemura ibibazo nka biriya, kuko nta nubwo twari twabibona kenshi hari ahantu yinterveninga. Murakoze.
Bivuze mu kanya mu rurimi rw'icyongereza, ikibazo cya Sudani y'Amajyepfo ni ikibazo kituremereye cyane nk'umugabane wa Afurika, cyane cyane nkatwe muri aka karere ka Afurika y'Iburasirazuba. Nibyo, Sudani y'Amajyepfo ni igihugu gishyashya muri uyu muryango wacu. Twebwe rero biduteye impungenge cyane muri aka karere cyane ko twebwe nk'u Rwanda dufiteyo n'ingabo muri Sudani y'Amajyepfo zagize ibibazo muri iyi minsi ishize, ndetse abasirikare batatu b'u Rwanda bakaba barakomeretse muri iyi minsi ishize. Turabikurikirira hafi rero. Ikibazo cyawe ni ikibazo cyiza, kuko n'ubundi iriya brigade yashyiriweho kugira ngo igihe habaye ibibazo bikomeye mu karere runaka, abasirikare b'ako karere babe babasha kugenda mu buryo bwihuse bakajya gutabara. Ni brigade yo gutabara muri aka karere kacu ka Afurika y'Iburasirazuba, ndetse tukaba twishimira yuko aka karere kacu ka Afurika y'Iburasirazuba ariko ka mbere kabashije kwitegura neza. Brigade ikaba iri ku murongo, bikaba byarateguwe neza, ikaba ishobora gutabara mu gihe cy'iminsi itari myinshi. Icyo navuze mu kanya rero mu rurimi rw'icyongereza ni uko nta kintu na kimwe cyaduha igisubizo kuri Sudani y'Amajyepfo kitazaganirwaho. Niba hakenewe iyo brigade bizaganirwaho, abakuru b'ibihugu bafata icyemezo, ariko ibyo biganiro birateganijwe hano muri iyi nama y'abakuru b'ibihugu i Kigali. Thank you very much. Perhaps one very, very last.
Then, Minister, who would you like to give it to?
You're trying to get me in trouble, huh?
Okay, we have the gentleman who raised his hand first on that side.
Okay, thank you, Your Excellency.
Let me just say, let it not be in Kinyarwanda. Let's give a bit of time to our guests.
Sure. Sorry?
Allez-y.
Okay, thank you, Your Excellency.
You too.
Okay,
thank you, Your Excellency. I'm Karim Saleh from Anadolu News Agency.
From which agency?
From Anadolu News Agency.
Okay.
I have two questions. One question is regarding the issue of ICC. The issue is still standing, and do we expect a final decision from the heads of the state, maybe collective withdrawal from the ICC, and did Rwanda will receive President al-Bashir will participate in the summit? The second question, the latest visit by the Israeli Prime Minister. As you know, Israel is looking to regain its position at the AU. Could we expect any decision on that by the head of state to Israel to regain its position at the AU as the observer?
Let me begin with the second question. And by the way, please, one question, because I have to leave. Yes. So indeed, the Prime Minister of Israel has visited this region of East Africa, has held a summit with 7 countries, including all the EAC countries. Indeed, Israel is looking to strengthen its ties with Africa. There is no reason why Israel should not be picking up its relationship with the continent, but it's not on the agenda for this summit. I've responded perhaps to 5 questions on the ICC and the presence of President Bashir, but let me repeat. The matter of withdrawal, including withdrawal of multiple countries from the ICC, is part of the discussion here from yesterday, and it will also come up during the heads of state meeting. So it's under discussion. There is no conclusion. It's been discussed a few times already in the last 2 years. There's a ministerial committee that's been set up to by heads of state to look into the relationship between the International Criminal Court and the African Union. Clearly, the reason it's under discussion is because many African countries believe that it's become a very politicized court, and that Africa needs to take a position. But obviously, withdrawal is a sovereign matter, as is joining the court. And so, but what I know is that a number of countries are ready to withdraw. And Rwanda is not party to the Rome Statute.
Is that it? La toute dernière question.
En français, la toute dernière question.
D'accord, merci Madame la Ministre. Je voudrais savoir si il a déjà commencé à peut-être sur cette question. Effectivement, ça concerne la Cour pénale internationale. Je voudrais savoir donc si c'est à l'ordre du jour la sortie des pays africains de cette Cour pénale internationale du 27e sommet de l'Union africaine, quand on sait que plusieurs chefs d'État ont manifesté leur envie de quitter cette Cour pénale entre guillemets internationale. Je précise bien entre guillemets internationale. Merci Madame la Ministre.
Écoutez, deux choses.
Abdoulaye Sadou, Afrique Média International.
C'est ça.
Merci.
Je pense qu'on devrait pouvoir séparer 2 choses. Il y a la justice, il y a la politique. Quand plusieurs pays africains, vous savez, on a 34 pays sur 50 qui sont membres de la CPI, ces pays, effectivement, de bonne foi, pensaient pouvoir faire partie d'un système de justice internationale équitable. Il se fait qu'avec l'expérience, avec le temps, plusieurs pays africains se rendent compte plutôt que c'est une cour hautement politisée et que donc il faudrait que l'Afrique puisse prendre position. Mais bien évidemment, c'est quand il s'agit d'adhérer à un système international ou de se retirer, c'est une décision souveraine de chaque pays. Mais je peux vous confirmer que les discussions au cours de ce sommet, depuis hier en réunion ministérielle, bien évidemment, c'est un sujet de débat, de discussion qui va aussi occuper les discussions au niveau des chefs d'État.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Ministre. C'est la fin de cette conférence de presse avec Madame la Ministre. We have two...
On est ici pour 5 jours encore.
Ouais. The first announcement is that just after this press conference, there is the opening of the Editors Forum here in MH3. It's the room outside here, and there is a press conference with the African Union Commissioner for Human Resource, Science and Technology here in this room at 11. Thank you very much.